All right, it is 6:15. I will call the monthly utility commission meeting to order. Roll has been taken. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
Make the motion.
Motion by Bart, second by
Second.
Dave. Are there any questions at all? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Got a motion by Ross,
Second.
second by Dave. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public appearances. Let the records say there's no one here. Monthly business. Approve the vouchers and the checks. Anybody want to do that?
I can make the motion.
A motion by Bart to approve the vouchers and the checks.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Dave. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Prior month income statements. Anybody have any questions at all on those? If not, we will move on. Council acts affecting the utility. Resolution 49, 2023. Approve healthcare provider and employer contributions. Resolution 52, 2023, approved cost of living increase. Consumption and loss. Million gallons of infiltration.
Looking better than it was before.
How can we have that when so much of our piping is replaced?
Still not a perfect system, I guess, as long as everything.
Or could you do like a system inspection where you just check the manholes, see if flows, if there's increased flows come from somewhere?
We do that periodically, and that's kind of how we come up with, kind of in conjunction with when we do our televising and sewer jetting, try to see if there's any extravagant amounts of clear water coming in. And then that's how we choose what needs to be rehabbed for the budgeted year, so. Yeah, that's what we're after, basically. That's the goal.
But the percentage is still down a lot more than last, the average. Big picture.
Okay. Totals of delinquent customers.
We had disconnected quite a bit this month. Let's see here. We had 21. And then system-wide, we still have 10 meters that remain out. Some of them are people that are refusing to be reconnected right now because they have either kind of went off grid right now, so to speak, without getting into too much detail. The other was a foreclosure that's now being purchased. That should be going back in, but we're requiring some inspections to be done because there's been some things done to the services that they wouldn't pass inspection right now. So we're not connecting services back up until we get an electrician to pull a permit or pull an inspection and get those all cleaned up before we reconnect those. The other ones are just people that moved out, and there's no person there to take the service right now. So.
When does the moratorium start? This week? Tomorrow?
It's
It starts on the 15th.
15th, yeah.
So if they're disconnected before that, do you have to hook them back up?
No,
No.
so they need to make payment agreements, yet they still have to follow through with their payments. If they make zero efforts to make a payment agreement, we do not need to reconnect them.
Okay.
Industrial or businesses, they're exempt from that moratorium, so if businesses don't pay, we can still disconnect them. We've had a few businesses recently that have been kind of odd. So those will be remaining to be disconnected if they come through, but if they don't make any effort, then no, we don't. And we still can turn off their water through winter as well for the PSC rules. So we do have some leverage yet to get people to pay, but
Pam was telling me that was part of our, we can turn off water in winter,
okay.
Yeah.
and that's what, I guess, we were trying to figure out with Pam, is there something, is it written anywhere that we can't? In our bylaws or something?
As long as it doesn't affect their heating system.
Right.
Right,
You
and
gotta
that's,
Right,
and that's
so-
what
A
I.
boiler system or
Right.
a steam heat system, but
Right.
Right, okay. Okay.
So to add to Dick's question, if a person comes in and negotiates, and then you put the meter back in
And
and
they pay for 1 month and then don't pay the next?
Yep.
you're screwed.
we're screwed.
We disconnect, but we can disconnect on April 15th without any other notice.
Right.
Now that we have this on film,
It's-
we'll have
it's-
6 more people to do that.
It's,
Yeah, that's what they do.
it's a game. It's
Okay.
a chess game.
All right, good.
And then they wait, and then there's some that wait till they go to tax roll, and then it's like they worry about it that way.
Get their hands clean and there's one person that refused to get turned on. He was kind of mentioning, and they said they kind of did it for personal,
For,
Spite?
out of
for
spite,
spite,
yeah.
yes.
And he was paying more to be off grid than he was on the utilities, and I mean, so be it.
You should have seen what this guy looked like.
Yeah, I know, that's why we're requiring an inspection to be done, so.
Okay. Any other questions about that?
I guess there's another one, or maybe you're talking about the same one, but it's running generator on a
Yeah.
continuous
Yeah.
basis.
That's that one.
Are you gonna need help from plan commission or something to set up some kind of noise restriction, or?
Well, the last conversation Pam had, he does want to come back on utilities. He has got over whatever he was upset with us because he was disconnected and was never disconnected before, even though he was past due on his bill. And with Pam versus the person we had now, she might not have given notices up before that he's received now, but he knows that he has to have an inspection, he wants to get back in utilities, so it sounds like it won't be an issue.
But he's continuing to be able to get free sewer service at this
Well, that's
point.
what it comes down to. We told him that we will be disconnecting his sewer if he's gonna continue to do this, and then he went, oh, what does that mean? And then, so yeah.
Yeah, we basically told him that he'll just have the sewage in his basement, and he's like, okay, well, we're not gonna have that, so. He had called and I spoke with him the other day, and he is working on, getting some payments from energy assistance, and his payments, or his, outstanding balance went to tax roll, and so he's got a clean slate, basically, to start with, so he's said that he wants to work with, trying to keep that up this time.
If he doesn't pay his taxes.
That's the city's problem. We
Is the
passed
city
it
gonna pass, no, well, if he doesn't pay his taxes, then you're not gonna get paid,
Right,
so.
yeah, we don't get paid until next year from tax money.
I just can't believe the neighbors are putting up with it.
Well, and if it does come to that where all of a sudden we get wind that he's not gonna be doing this, then yeah, we probably will contact you guys to see if we can do something, because I would not be, like you said, if I was the neighbors, I wouldn't be pleased, so.
Okay. So, reports of officials. Lori?
Okay, you have the newest copy of the budget. I made a few changes, today from the one that I had emailed out to you. Basically, the items that are on the bottom of the first page that says notable items and owning expenses, those were things that the last couple of years had been up in the capital section, which should not have been, and so they were being double expensed. So I just put it down there so we could, those are things that we've talked about, the guys have talked about throughout the meetings, and have gotten approvals on or whatever, but I just left it on the bottom so it didn't affect the numbers in the big picture. So I need to have you guys review that and approve it, or whatever.
For electric, the only real noticeable difference is our junction and transformers are triple what they used to be before COVID. We used to typically be $50,000. But as you guys probably remember, that's already listed, pre-approved. And then we're light on the capital items as well. With the skid loader bucket, the machine's a wider footprint, so we're now driving over what we're finishing. So we're just trading that in. We don't know the trade-in expense yet, but 5,000 will cover both attachments easily. Probably way less than that.
On the summary page, it's, we do, and in the sewer expenses, we do have the interest payments that are due next year for the sewer loan, for the clean water fund loan. That'll be coming up. So that the numbers that are in the cash section do reflect that those are paid. And I spoke with Nicole from MSA today. We don't show that we have a principal payment on the clean water, the new clean water fund loan until May of '25. But she said she had spoken with the DNR and there is a possibility that we'll be making a payment this May coming up. But we need to check to make sure we would be financially set to do that before she goes and makes that deal. She said that she, in talking with them, it would be good for us because of paying it down earlier and less interest or whatever apparently, but I told her that she probably should have asked us that we are able to make that payment. So we're going to work on that tomorrow. Sewer's finally getting healthy again, and we don't need to go and make a $300,000 or $400,000 payment and drain everything out. In my opinion. If anybody has any other questions or anything, need any explanations?
I want to talk about the chlorine optimization and corrosion control a little bit.
Yeah, so that's, I guess, that's not really necessarily budgeted for. That's kind of something we've been working on in the past few meetings. I've kind of been reporting on. We haven't come up with an actual plan for sure as to what we want to do yet. And that number was initially what I proposed back in September, with changing the chemical injection points and going that route with adding safety showers and everything. But now I've been working with MSA and we're trying to figure out what they think we need, I guess, and go from there. So that item's not necessarily
You talked about changing the media and some filters or something.
right, and we gotta just, we're working through now with MSA, trying to figure out if they think that's the right answer or not, basically. So we're kinda in limbo a little bit with that, so I can't really budget for it, cause I don't know what we need.
How long do you think this chlorine problem's going to last? Because
Right.
we got a letter again this month from, I think, the council members that, from a citizen. that-
Yep, yeah, and I received that as well, yeah, yeah. So it's basically until we figure out what's the overall cause of it and what we wind up doing to fix it, I guess. Right now, we're just basically gathering data. I mean, I could throw in the budget to change media out, but if that wasn't the smoking gun, then
No,
might not have needed to be spent.
I'm not thinking that, I'm just thinking,
Right.
I'd like to see some urgency on,
Right.
on solving the problem.
Right.
When
Okay.
the letter came out, I got it too, and I talked to Alex about it, and at that time, we can't even find out what media is in there. or when it was ever changed.
That's after.
There's no record
Yeah.
of it, what went in. So it's kind of hard to find out what to put in there when there's no record of what's in there.
Shut it down to take a sample to identify it? Anybody looking at it?
Yeah. Yeah. We do have, I found original specs from 2 of the 3 wells. The third one I don't have 100% knocked down, but, yeah. So they needed that information in order to do a media change. Yeah, we needed to know exactly what was in it. And we're working on it. I hate to sit in limbo here. I guess that was part of my updates here. But MSA did, on our behalf, submit an intent to apply for safe water drinking loans because that was due October 31st. So they did put the paperwork in motion with just as a scope of work, it was just as broad as they could put it. Just basically said well house upgrades and intent to apply for safe drinking water loans. If we do wind up using it, great, we started the groundwork. If we don't have to. We're not obligated to do anything. But if the project winds up getting to the point where we have to take a loan to do it, at least we can. But like I said, we gotta get to the point where we decide, this will make the difference, or this is what we think we need to do or not. So we did some testing for some different raw water testing to see what was in it, which was not typical testing that we would do, just to try to figure out if there's different things reacting to it prior to the filters, stuff like that. So we're working on it. And it's, that's the other half of it, is I'm trying to figure out how to do this affordably too. So, but if I get the feel that, the commission is on the basis of any sort of urgency.
Is it sections of towns that these complaints are coming from? Do you know
It seems
from
to
the
be
council
kind
or?
of all over.
It's not coming down from my end. My water's good.
I don't even notice it
No.
here. Like
I get it every once in a while.
It's bad.
Toy shop.
Mhm.
Now that we've been talking about it, I start to notice the odor a little bit more at my house, and I didn't think I ever noticed it before, but, yeah, there's a little bit of a smell now, and what have you, but my neighbors are irate down by us, and I said, I don't have it in my house, I drink it all the time, whatever.
Well, and part of that too, a lot of it, well, I shouldn't say a lot of it, but it does play into how your house is plumbed. If you have a water softener or any kind of filters in play, that cuts that right out. So,
It's not filtering or not softening my drinking water, that's
Right.
Yeah,
hard.
not, I mean, I have a little pitcher that I use for a filter.
right. Yeah.
So I don't taste it, but I mean, when you open that faucet and turn the cold water
you'll
on
smell
at the
it.
kitchen sink, yeah, then you smell it. Any place else in the house, no,
Yeah. Right.
because the rest of the house is all soft.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
No, Dick, you're on a dead end main there.
Yeah.
so part of that is you're
Circulation is.
kind of having more stagnant water too, so it's not as fresh. So I would kind of expect that.
It's good.
It's good water. You're not getting fresh water.
It's good. It's good.
Well, I think it's a given, Alex, that a couple of us been around here a long time, and we don't recall within the last 20 years of that media being changed. I think it's past due to have it done, so I think that's a given. We ought to plow forward with that. I mean, even if it doesn't correct the problem,
Right.
it's something
Still
that should have been
maintenance
done,
Yeah.
and I can only imagine which person threw out all those records down there too, because there was some very good record keeping over the years on that stuff.
And part of it is I haven't had time we have a bunch of boxes of stuff upstairs that I just haven't had time to dig through.
But I mean, how many different types of media are there for? I mean,
The big thing is
there's gotta be-
deciding how thick of stuff, you know, there's different thicknesses
Right.
and certain layers. I don't know how much more.
But they're just
complicated.
requesting that they know that before.
Yeah. Yeah, before we can go to.
Well, what if we can't find it?
So if we can't find it, it has to be engineered.
I mean,
So
if
we
you're
can
gonna-
we can do a direct replacement, we can hire a contractor just to do the replacement if we know what's in it. If we don't know 100% what's in it, it needs to be engineered, what to put back in it. So,
I mean, there's gotta be a standard, I would think, that for, I know different types of water in different areas in the state all, but I mean, I would think everybody in Dodge County would basically use the same media in their wells and whatever. So I would encourage the commission to direct Alex to plow forward with at least the media change, because it's long past due and it might take care of this ongoing problem, because we gotta tell these people something. It's
Right.
getting to the point where people are just thinking we're sitting on our hands doing nothing.
Yeah, we gotta do something, gotta be proactive.
Yeah, budget, put something in the budget for some media.
the hard part is I don't even have a.
Well,
You
we can-
estimated,
I-
If
if you estimated 85,000, but 80
That wasn't even for media though, that was an unrelated potential fix. It was kind of it was something that should be done too, but we kinda, as you go, you can scale this as big as you want, you
Mhm.
know, and I don't know what the 100% fix is. So, I think media is would be a good maintenance item, but I don't know, I don't even have a guess to what to tell you it would cost. But yeah, the 85,000 was for reconfiguring chemical addition, which I think if we did that on top of doing media, I think you should have a really good opportunity to get it where you want it. But then you're talking 85,000 plus 100,000, you know, so.
But we're able to do the media as one step, and then if it doesn't fix the problem, then we can
Right.
move forward with
Yeah,
the second
so that
step.
was-
Either way, it needed to be changed.
I think as a sequence here, I would almost say, in my opinion, and kind of feeling out how our funds are, maybe just plan on replacing media in one well a year for the next 3 years, and I don't know how long we want to drag this out.
I guess we need to find out what it costs to replace the media.
I don't see it being less than, I'm making it up here, but I don't see it being less than $30,000.
I seem to recall a couple of wells, I think 2 and 3, or 1 and 3 I thought were done.
I know 3 was,
3 was for sure?
for sure.
Yeah, I thought 1 was done too when we rehabbed and we
So-
redid everything on
What
that.
It
if
just
you-
won't go on the
Well-
budget, it's gonna be an operating expense when that time comes, and we'll make an approval on it.
What do you think of checking with Horicon? They gotta be near the same water table we're at.
No,
Well-
that's Rock River water there.
Marsh.
That's marsh water.
This is Dead Creek water.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, at least with the 2 wells that I know exactly what media beds are in it, I can just go direct to contractors and get a quote for that. at least. The last
Didn't Lane
one.
do it the last time?
Who?
Lane?
They not
Lane.
like they did it, yeah.
But I'm just
Probably
going
one-
by
probably
recollect
one
here.
of
but
But, now like the municipal well does all of it, they must do it too.
I would think so.
Actually,
Yeah.
2 and 3.
Yeah. I think it was Lane North.
Let's bring back some numbers next month for us and, you know, get on that media replacement, push it.
I think it would be good, even social media, putting on there once that's established, though, so people can see
They
that.
can see that.
They were doing something.
I agree.
Yeah.
I keep blaming it on the lead. I keep telling everybody that's.
Well, part of what's going on, well, right now is well 3 is off for the last 3 weeks, so we're running a lot longer run times, so these filters are really getting saturated. That's probably one of them.
I think we gotta plow forward, do something. You know, I won't think waiting even another month. If you can get something shored up, find out what it is and get a cost from somebody so that we can plow forward, because like I said, if none of us that have been on the commission for many years can remember that, I remember at one time, and like I said, I think 2 of the 3 wells are done, but that's gotta go back well past 20 years now. So, and if they recommend that being done every 20 years or prior,
Yeah.
I think we should be doing it. No, no question.
And that, it probably, well, just as a spitballing idea, but with well 2, we have that higher radium numbers. I think a fresh medium might help absorb some of that too, I would hope. But it definitely wouldn't hurt from any standpoint.
Right. Yeah, they see an extra $20 on their utility bill every month, they're gonna be reaching out, or, you know, they wanna make sure that they get, and I think that last report, that really shook everybody's cage too, like, geez, they start hearing stuff and reading stuff and whatever about, oh, Juneau's water isn't safe to drink, and you know, that just runs rampant, you know, so.
Yeah.
So, let's go back to budget.
Motion to approve. Motion be approved the 2024 budget.
We have a motion to approve the budget. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion by Ross, second by Bart to approve the budget for 2024. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay. Second item here is the community contributions. I have a sheet in your packet that shows what we contributed for each item last year and then the amounts that we have available. We do have a letter from the Shop with Cops that we normally do. And we also have a new item that was for cameras that they want to install at the different roadways and streets. That takes pictures of each of the vehicles, license plate numbers and stuff. They said the cost per camera is $2,750 per year. And they're trying to install 21 cameras throughout the county, it looks like. That was from the Dodge County Sheriff's Office.
I'm guessing there's seen ones over by Menards. I don't know if you guys seen those by B-Ram. They got the solar panels and little cameras on the sheriff's department too.
What they need those?
Crime Stoppers. I don't know if that's what they say anyways.
Otherwise, everything is pretty much the same as far as contributions of what we've done in the past, but don't have any other new ideas.
They have enough Christmas decorations?
I wanted to bring up something, you know, something that seems to be harder and harder every year, and it's quite noticeable this year, is the crosswalk for the school and the kids. If there would be any interest in putting up some school zone lights that flash on the main drag, like 26 there by Village Garden, or, because right now that's an man or woman staffed crossing, and you know how 26 is, that's pretty crazy right there. I have no idea what the costs are. I know they make solar ones that you program them for the school schedule, and they go off an hour, start flashing an hour before, and go for about a half hour after the school start time. It's just like a pedestrian crosswalk, but it automatically goes on at that certain time. You can program for early release days too. It's just a thought I had the other day.
When 26 was reconstructed, there was and Mr. Dreeke wanted to put that in there, so a switch, you could turn them on and turn them off. And he got shot down before he could even get it out of his mouth. Really, they were just wild about it. I don't know why. Something about the wiring would go to hell, and then he was, I don't know.
This would be actually a solar type,
Yeah.
so there wouldn't be wiring
Right.
involved. Dave Beal's in the process of getting numbers for that,
Oh, is it?
and
I would,
depending how things go, it could be a capital
I would think that would be,
project.
yeah, well, that would be, I mean, but that falls under
Right.
community contribution too. And that
Absolutely.
would be something that I think, I could get behind that,
I could get behind that before these cameras.
yes.
Yeah.
In the food pantry.
That was-
I'd rather keep the dollars in town
I know
here.
that it's gonna be a big expense.
Yeah. Yeah, he was throwing numbers around and these were the actual, you know, the ones that are on center line and what have you too, you know, to essentially eliminate a crossing guard because we don't have anybody stepping forward and what have you. But like Dick said, he was putting some numbers into his cost, but there's no reason we can't fudge a $5,000 figure or whatever you'd want to throw at something like that, because I think it is a good idea as far as the safety for kids.
The Shop with Cop programs is a good program too. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I've done that many years they never seem to have enough cops, so they call in firemen, so I've routinely done that in the past. And there are some needy people, you know, out there.
I was at Walmart a few months ago, and there were 2 cops with a couple of kids that were doing that program. It was really neat just to observe it from this side and see how the kids reacted and everything. It is really cool.
The Pelican Path, I thought we only committed to $500 for that.
We did.
We did.
That's what it says.
That's what it says, Emily. We did 500 of that, so there's 1,500 left in that.
Okay.
There's 1,500 left in that.
Oh, I'm see, I was
As
looking.
far as decorations, there's none to replace. All the outlets are on the whole stretch, so I wouldn't see a need for that this year.
Well, they're trying to retire the old incandescent ones that go down Oak Street now, so,
Oh,
yeah. 'Cause those are ancient too, you know, whatever, so there is, you know.
I don't know.
They're
There's the-
nostalgic.
Yeah, yeah, there are. You grew up with them, right?
Maybe they should auction them off. You could auction off those nostalgic ones to have them in the backyard.
Then I wouldn't have to worry about criminals back.
See the cops walking up the street.
Target practice. Well, there's nothing that you gotta commit to this right now, you know the amounts as they come in, you know, this isn't anything that you gotta pinpoint right now.
Well, being that we're in November, it might be good to do the shop for cops now.
Yeah, that's usually right before Christmas.
So that would probably be more than we're doing now.
So are we limited to 1,500 and then,
They match.
Match.
and then they match
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah. And you're not tied to it neither. If you don't come up with worthy projects, you just don't spend it. Dave put it on your public works agenda to question how many Christmas decorations you might think that need to be replaced or something like that, or get together with Joe and find out.
That would be a part of the economic development.
Yeah, that they have to
Yeah.
go through CDA or the chamber in order to spend that kind of money.
So are we restricted to that 1,500 being on the economic development versus the
Mhm.
3,000 we are?
You mean pushing all the funds over into one
Right, I didn't know
another
if you
category? No, they try to split them up like that just to make it.
So then throwing money at the crosswalk thing, is that economic development or is
I would say that kind of falls into the community contribution
Mhm.
category,
We
but I don't know, but
I was thinking you could do
economic development is
1,000 to
basically
the
what it's supposed to be,
shop
to
with
stimulate
cops
your,
and
you
then
know.
2,000 to the light, or the
Thousand,
lighting.
if that's what you're thinking, a
Yeah,
thousand?
1,000 for shop with cops and then 2,000 for the lights for the,
Works for me.
Which would be 4,000.
I would suggest
No.
that you just do the
No, we
1,000
give
for the
four.
shop with cops right
Yeah, I
now,
would do the
and then
$1,000
we
for
can
shop
do
with
the
cops
two,
right
we
now.
have more
we have
solid
$2,000 numbers
money.
on, yeah,
And then
how's that?
when we find out,
Yeah,
just do the shop for cops now and the 2,000 we'll do later.
and I think the shop with cops is a good thing, but quite frankly, in all the years that I did, I don't think I've ever saw a Juneau child participating in it.
I've seen,
I don't recall ever being paired up with one, and we all kind of eat together and what have you, and it's always held out at the Bayside, and then the 4-H does the wrapping and all that, but I can't remember ever seeing anybody from Juneau actually participated in it. And I'm hoping that the reason
you can
is,
take me
there's,
around.
excuse me,
You can take me around.
Yeah, Juneau child.
can get you and your legs through the cart. He'll make the openings quite that big.
If you can pick me up and
Yeah,
put me through there.
You'll never get out.
Back of the cart.
I make a motion that we,
Derek truck.
we, give $1,000 to shop with cops.
Good start.
I'll second that.
And Bart's a second. Is there? Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. All right,
And then the balance, we're gonna discuss it another
we will
time?
discuss the balance of it next month.
And year. And year.
And or year.
Yeah, at a later date.
Next on your agenda, ma'am.
Next on the agenda, we have because the personnel committee had, voted to change the policy for the utility on how to do wage increases, and want to do that on a performance review basis. We needed to come up with a new personnel, new policy for personnel handbook. So we just need to read over that and approve that, and then that will have to go to council, I believe.
I will make the motion to send that resolution to council.
I'll second it.
Does that match the city?
No, it doesn't.
No, it does not.
How's it different?
The city right now is just, and it has been for us in the past, where you are at a wage year one, and the next year you go to year two automatically because you've been here that year. And then now, with recent happenings, there's been people that are going 2 or 3 steps or whatever, and in the personnel meeting, they discussed that it should be based off of merit and performance, such as how they did with the different step increases. But it's going to be done as a performance review with either if you've done good, you can get an increase, and if you didn't, you don't get any increase. I think that's how it was discussed in the personnel meeting.
Right. It's based off of, we do performance reviews. It's based more off your performance review than it is off of
Just automatically.
automatically you get a raise.
And I thought we discussed that we were doing these it would be based at the end of the year, and so any increase in your wage would cost of living and any increase would happen at the same time. I thought that was-
We had the performance reviews that were gonna be done by August
One
first.
raise a year,
I thought that's how we
Yeah.
discussed that.
Yeah. I mean,
That all that raise would happen, instead of giving somebody a raise and, say, started in September, instead of giving them, or whatever, their raises are gonna happen on January 1.
Okay, just so I'm clear. The council's gonna have to pass this also in order for this to take effect.
mhm.
I
So
think,
it's gonna,
yeah,
it's gonna have to go in their personnel book.
This would just be for utility employees.
Yes. But the council has to approve it before it would take
I
effect.
believe that that's correct, and I
Yeah.
thought that that's what Megan had told me, yes.
Well, that would be interesting. Yeah. That's all I got to say about that.
Because I think this
if I-
has to have a resolution in order to become effective in the policy book.
And I think the mindset with this
Yeah.
should be,
I read that.
there's nothing in place for a person that's underperforming, not doing their job, to have any type of incentive to improve themselves currently in place. Like, I understand some of the council's points saying like, you don't want to have that kind of responsibility. I get that. But there's also nothing in place saying, if I'm doing a terrible job, then I shouldn't be getting a raise. I mean, that's plain and simple.
You know, you might not be doing a bad enough job to get
Right.
let go, but you're not doing good enough to
Right.
make the
And
next
if
step
the
either.
person's meeting the status quo, which I think everybody currently in the city of Juneau is doing right now, I don't know everybody, but then nothing, it's as is, as it is right now. You're gonna get your cost of living raise, you're gonna get your, if you're on that scale to move up, you're gonna get that scale. But if there's ever a person that's not doing their job or a new hire, there should be some kind of system in place where you guys do have the power to not give that person a raise or whatever. That's my, and I get the other people's viewpoints, like you don't wanna,
The pushback we'll get from the I'm guessing we'll get from the council, is that it's not the same as the city. I get that all, I hear that all the time. The
Right.
Utility Commission, cities, not the same. The personnel book is different for both of them, or there's different,
Mhm.
standards for both of them. That'll be the main pushback, I believe.
Where did that K point?
And I don't know what's gonna happen.
Is who does all
I
of
have no
that?
good idea though.
Yeah.
What's the possibility if it's?
When they, just for curiosity, when they approved the resolution 49 and 52, we weren't included in on that. The utility was not included. They made those, the personnel committee made those decisions without the utility
I
commission
was
even
told that the
allowing.
Utility Commission had already made a decision on those things.
No, we didn't.
We did not.
I didn't believe that either. But
No,
We
that's what
didn't.
I was
not.
told.
There were,
Well, let me ask Lori, where did the 4% come from?
For-
You put a budget together with 4%, was that from direction from the utility commission?
The 4% was because the city passed the 4%.
No. You had
that was
4% in motion before the city was
Right.
focusing on a 3% and hadn't even acted on that yet.
Well,
And they asked me about it and I said, I don't ever remember it being
She just
discussed
put-
around
yeah,
this
she-
table.
Lori just put in, they just put a number in, it was not voted on. There was no,
We didn't
there
vote.
was no personnel.
But there was
had
no
nothing-
input from you guys as far as
There was-
that number.
No,
no, it's just
No,
like
I-
it was just a placeholder is all it was.
Alice would typically do, depending on cost of living raises that were projected for state of
Right.
Wisconsin.
Because that's what I did
Like
also.
before COVID, she would always budget 3%. Because cost of living for state of Wisconsin was always less than 3%. And then since COVID, it's always been 4 or 5% that's either, it's just put into budget so that you guys can adjust it.
Yeah, I was understood that was just a placeholder.
It is, because, and that's exactly
Unfortunately,
what I.
now it's not a placeholder, it's fact because the city,
We looked at,
But-
when I left the last meeting we had with Kay and the personnel committee,
I was under the impression that the next meeting would be another joint personnel
was
meeting.
not
and
gonna
it
be in
wasn't.
that one. And it, I mean, they voted
you're
down 3%.
Mhm.
And we didn't know what the heck was going on. That was the last we heard.
Well,
Don't know what happened
You're
after
absolutely
that.
right. And Dick and I argued that point, you know, and what have you, and then all of a sudden, then we had a battle. Well, how can you argue about 3% when the utility's getting 4%? Neither one of us could say that, hey, we weren't consulted on that at all, neither.
Well, and all the 4% was a placeholder. It
But
was just something to put, a number to put in for,
We had to have some number to put in.
and then
Yep.
I guess
Go ahead,
next
Lori.
time we'll put 1 in and see what
I'm not trying
happens.
to put you on the hot seat, don't
No,
get me wrong there,
No,
I'm
that's
just,
fine, but Nick is right. The first thing I do when I start the budget to know what to do for wages is I go on to, to see what the social security or whatever cost of living increases are gonna, that they're suggesting for that year. And that's how I base off, and I'm like, okay, it was 3.85% or it was 5.2% or whatever. And so then I figure it in somewhere in there so that, like Bart says, it's a placeholder.
Okay.
City Hall calls and says, what are you planning on for cost of living increase? I said, well, from what I saw on my research, I'm putting in 4%. And if we need to go up or we need to go down, we'd adjust it, but you gotta start somewhere. So that's how that number comes
us as a
about.
commission never had that discussion.
Nope.
No.
And
we were
Personnel
told
didn't
that,
the council said that it was a raise decided by the utility
Yeah.
commission.
No, it
So I want to
wasn't.
go on
We were
record, that
told
wasn't the
that.
case.
we were told,
Yeah.
because they looked at us and, yeah, I don't recall having that
Yeah.
conversation.
Oh, we,
We never had that conversation here.
But regardless, that happened and
Water over the dam
they
now.
made their
I
decision.
guess next
or
year you put
the council
1%
made-
in and then we'll go.
Right.
Put 1% in,
Can you,
as a placeholder, and then
Yeah, yeah.
we'll go from there.
could you put the word
Yeah.
proposed in front of that 3 or 4%? Proposed, 3 or
Everything's
4?
proposed on top of this budget.
Yeah, I mean,
Until we
the
passed
budget
it
is,
just
you know,
now.
the one I
But you're
presented was
absolutely
the
right,
draft.
Mac. There
last
should have been discussion with,
But
But then if
with
it's
your
voted on, then it's
personnel in
just
regards to that
4%
adjustment
or
and
3%.
in
not-
contribution to
Oh,
that.
no, this proposed
That
budget.
shouldn't have
We
been
had
just,
a discussion
Right
at
now,
a
like,
joint.
you could say,
we had a discussion.
And they had all got voted
Everything got
down.
voted down. Nobody wanted to do anything.
No.
No, there were
Once
too
we
many,
vote on
I think
it,
some
you
people
change
wanted
it.
more, some people wanted less.
well, I don't
But I
think it
think
should
part
be
of-
a given that utility and city employees get a cost of living increase every year. I mean, the John Q. Public is not receiving that as well,
I'm not
you know.
getting, I can tell you for sure, I'm not getting one. That's
County,
2 years- that's 2
county,
years.
they went with 3% and there's a freeze next year for them, so, you know, we're not really
You know, I'm-
going coincide with the, go ahead, Larry.
From what I understood from the meeting that happened with the council or the personnel, whatever it was, that the reason that those figures were voted down is because we didn't know at that time how much the insurance, the health insurance is gonna be up, going up, or how much if there was gonna be a change in the contribution. So that's what I
So
understood
employees
of
got
why
they
any
got
of
a
the
raise
cost
on
of
the
living
health
was voted
insurance.
down.
Yeah.
Got a raise on.
That's
Pretty well.
what I was led to believe.
Yeah. There was something about the insurance cost and nobody had any.
Well, Richard's on the same page as I am. We're getting sick of hearing this comparison between the two. You have the right to do what you need to do to maintain quality employees here. And we're always downplaying the fact of skilled and semi-skilled. And, you know, I'm getting real tired of it. I'm getting real tired of it, what have you.
It's something we're gonna hear after we pass this.
Yeah.
Well,
this
I guess,
proposal.
I mean, we've both defended,
I guess as
Does-
personnel committee, we're gonna have to go to that meeting.
we both have defended the skill sets for the utility people compared to the, and they do not like that at all. They do not like that at all. And I haven't come to the point that said, I think the utility personnel could fill the slots of the city personnel. And I'm talking about the working personnel, not the office. The office is all different for us. But I don't think we can say that about about the city personnel falling in and filling in the slots of the utility people. That wouldn't be allowed, it'd be against the law and what have you. So those are the points. I haven't thrown that on the table, but they're pushing me dangerously close, you
And
know?
how many times has Nick and his guys gone over and, you
But,
know,
I
helped
mean-
with plowing and all kinds of stuff, you know?
I
We're
get it.
always helping.
And that's
out
what
the
small
other
cities are all about, Lori.
Yeah, we don't
Right.
I don't hear either one of these guys complaining or not taking the city's help when they need it too, you
Right,
know? I
right.
mean, that's the way it should be.
Right.
But it's getting real difficult having these discussions and not get into a knock-down hollering fest, you know, whatever. But, and it starts right on the clerical end of things too. You know, it's gotta stop, just gotta stop. We're all here for the same thing. We've tried to promote the utilities adjustment of wages to their help because of the market situation and what have you, and what other utilities are paying and whatever. They don't want to accept that. So, yeah. So
Anyways,
enough said on that, I guess.
anyways, I will, I'm not saying how I'll vote on it at council, but I'm gonna make the motion to, accept this revision to the city personnel policy about the utility employees, section 106. As written.
Okay. All right. All right, that's the,
And
That's-
just point
see?
taken, Nick, I appreciate the opinion you have in that. There is no incentive for our employees to do a good job if they can just ride the gravy train for 30 years or 35 years, you know. But I know how difficult that is to try and enforce in a small community with two different sectors, both. I don't want to hear that stuff. It's all the city. No, it's not. It's not all the city. You are garnishing your own funds through utility sales. You're the best customer the city has for property taxes and what have you. So I guess I'm putting my utility shirt back on here versus my mayor's hat. But I mean, I understand both sides and I appreciate both sides, and you got to appreciate what we have to put up with when you sit at both tables and try to defend what's going on. So. And Richard's been very good at it, I will say.
all right. Where are we at?
He begged me
I
to
made-
go
I
on,
made the
he begged me
motion
to
to
go on
accept the
personnel.
The number 4
No, on C.
on
Number
3?
3.
Okay,
To approve the new wage increase policy for the employee handbook.
okay,
I should have just read it.
okay.
Better statement.
You made that motion?
I made that motion.
Okay. Do I need a second? Motion by Dick, second by Ross. So all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right,
Next.
number 4, this is the wage scale.
We need to also have a resolution for the wastewater treatment plant wage scale that the commission and.
We've
personnel-
already passed, we've passed this, we just need
We
to,
just need to do the resolution saying that that's what it is.
that's what it is.
And I also need to note in the minutes the starting wages for January 1, so that they're noted.
I'll
So
make
if I-
that motion.
Second.
Motion by Bart, second by Dave.
Why do we have to approve it again?
That's what
All
I'm,
you're
Let's
doing
just
is,
send it to the council.
all you're doing is approving the resolution,
Resolution.
because we had to write up the resolution apparently. So, I don't know.
Do it
if
Why
this is
again.
what-
why did you have to write the resolution?
Because.
Because Megan
City Hall
asked,
doesn't
told me
want
to.
Can't you just forward it to them and say, "Here, put this on the agenda"?
It has to be formally forwarded on from the commission.
So this, we got this message and they wanted us to do it.
I don't
So-
either.
Whatever.
I got
Okay,
a phone call and it was
All-
an irate phone call.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
See, we needed starting wages.
Yes, we also need to, within that, we need to state the wages on Exhibit B, that those are the starting wages for January 1, and this does not include the cost of living increase. This scale doesn't. So I just need to have that known here so that I can put that in the minutes so
Okay.
that
That's fine.
I
You're
don't
good.
have any issues out there.
You got that?
Okay, thank you.
It's as clear as mud. All right.
So, I just not to toot my own horn here, but I was due for my step in January.
October.
I didn't get it in October, because this position started in December or January.
Oh,
So will my have changed at the January 1? Or am I stuck for a full another year?
I think we need
I
to give him a
think-
step. Probably have to vote on that next month.
You have
It's
to
not
check
a, it's
back.
not a year
Clarify.
anymore,
well,
it's a
because you
step.
had put on here that these were the starting wages as of January 1st, and yours is staying the same as what you had.
Yeah, but we need to
So-
give him, we need to bump him a step.
Okay.
We'll have to discuss, we'll have to put that
Well,
on the
we
agenda
can-
for
and
next
we can do
month.
that now, because we have that on here, that
Oh.
about approving the wage scale.
Because
Oh, that
Yeah, well,
was-
we're not changing
no.
the wweight scale, we're just
Right,
bumping
that
him
was the
next month, so
resolution.
that'll have to
Right,
probably go
right.
on next month.
Okay.
Or do we have to have a personnel meeting for that?
Yeah, that would be personnel, I believe. Or is it because it's department head of commission?
What am I saying here?
I mean, you can just give me my raise in October and just, so forget about it.
That's why it should be just
I mean,
one
Liz
time
just
a
got
year.
her.
month off, and
Things
this is what
already
happened.
happened.
We were out here last week.
Yeah, no kidding, we were out in like 37 minutes last time, man.
Take a look at the minutes.
7:01, I think. 7:00.
All right.
Okay, so we have a motion by Bart, seconded by Dave to approve the resolution to go toward, to be forwarded to council, correct?
Right.
With the proposed start phase as well, right?
Yes.
With proposed with-
Are you ready, Lori?
One second.
I don't want to rush you.
Take a breath. Okay. I'm done, that's it.
Okay.
I took enough time.
Electric superintendent.
All right, so the faulted service for the West Pavilion in the park was fixed. There was one of the 120 legs faulted underground. And I got lucky when I backed down right on the fault, since the fault finder wasn't finding it, so I got lucky. Well 3 service and the new transformer were installed. Everything was operating, and the siren operated at the new service voltage. The wastewater treatment plant service pipe was installed and the transformer pad was placed. We're waiting for the new transformer to arrive, which won't be until late summer. We also need to replace out a pole for the new riser pole there. It's an older pole. With the new service, you might as well change that out right away, so it's lasts 30 years. The tree trimming, we're doing tree trimming on the Goose Trail, both the north side of town and the south side of town. We have some marked trees that are dead ash trees or close in proximity to the power lines. Dave's seen us working on the south side of town, making it look as nice as we can. Disconnects, like I said, we had 21, 10 remain out in the full system. We've had some metering issues. One 2S meter, which is a residential meter, failed. We had to replace that out. And Two other 2S residential meters, we're having some communication errors, but those have cleared since the diagnostics that I took. We did a system-wide infrared study on our overhead system. We only found one hot connection on a cap bank on the backside of Clearview, capacitor bank. Downtown substation is currently offline as of this morning. This is because we do maintenance inspections every third year on our substations, so our 3 substations go through rotation. So this year was a downtown substation. They check all the reclosers, the voltage regulators, power transformer. They take oil samples, that they do studies on the oil samples and can tell if winding's going bad. Haven't found anything on this outside of one of the primary bushings on the transformer had a little bit more oil than the other 2, which isn't anything of concern. But it's just noted, it wasn't noted in the last report that it had. They all have sight glasses on the power transformer, and usually the oil level's dead center, one's slightly higher. When we're talking slightly, it's like a ½ inch higher than the other 2. So that bushing does go all the way down through the whole core of the transformer, and then there's a seal on the bottom. He's gonna plunger out that oil to match the other 2, and then we're just gonna watch it for the next 3 years. If it does creep up a little bit, we might have to take this transformer offline and then pull that whole bushing out and fix the seal on the bottom, but we'll see. He doesn't seem too concerned about it.
This all on the secondary side?
This would be on our load side of our
Load
power
side.
transformer.
I was just gonna ask you, does running a lower voltage like we drew out town, voltage, amperage proportionate? We're actually running a higher amperage draw, right, running lower voltage, is that,
So,
or do they accommodate our transformers that, or is it all?
well, these are all, every transformer we have on our system is dual voltage except this one.
Yep.
So this transformer is designed for that low voltage, high amperage.
Yep.
Longevity wise though, our low voltage system, or typically the equipment will have a longer longevity because the fault current
Right.
of anything is going to be less.
I guess I'm always looking ahead, you know,
Right.
if we ever did switch over to 7200 for.
Well, if we switch to
distribution
7200, this substation would be obsolete. This
Yep.
substation would be getting removed.
Yep,
So, but thinking long-term, that's what I'm always trying to do right now with transformer replacement. Long-term wise, we're probably still looking at
yep.
20 years. I mean, if we had to do a voltage conversion, say we had some kind of crazy development happen, we would seriously have to look at, we have a big cash prime account, but I
Well,
mean,
our system's so condensed too,
Yeah.
that's what all the engineers always said, you're not running miles of rural line or anything like that, the
It's-
farthest run we've got is out to the treatment plant.
And our
you know.
system's ready for outside of just, not every transformer's dual voltage right now.
Right.
And that's what we're working towards as we're replacing these transformers, but,
I don't see it ever happening, anybody around this table.
and I hope it doesn't, because as soon as you go to 7200 volts, we're gonna have more outages.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep,
that low voltage, squirrels, raccoons, anything, it just sees it as a load, it burns it off, tree burns it off usually, and,
seems to be the
So,
only issue we
really
have is
resilient.
down by the courthouse or whatever.
yep, and that was their fault, their equipment last time, so.
Never their fault. neighbors.
Yeah, right. So that's Wednesday, it should be going back online. Then Monday, industrial substation will be going offline. And you guys remember back early summer, we approved the recloser replacement controls. We had one recloser control circuit burn up on us. It was operational, but they're non-serviceable anymore. So we're switching to the Schlichting recloser controls on there, which I've talked to a lot of municipalities, and I've also now recently just talked to our engineers of why we didn't go this route with our new substation on the north substation, because they are lifetime warranties. They've serviced free of charge even though they're 20 years old, and so we're going to a really robust control. It's easy operational. It does kind of suck that we have a different recloser control versus the other two, but looking at them, they're really user-friendly, so there shouldn't be any confusion with going from the north downtown to the industrial, so. We had to rewire the reel trailer. We had some faulty wiring for the taillights. Did some street light repairs, fuel bulbs burnt up in the high pressure sodiums and some eyes as well. We had a voltage complaint at Whiskers, went out there to assess it and did a long diagnostics for the last 6 months, and we've always been within our 5%. And the reason it was brought up was their HVAC contractor had a combustion, or not, condenser motor burn up 2 times since that new building's been in, but it's one of the units out of all 12, so I'm guessing there's something wrong with just that one unit that there's issues. So he was just looking for a reason, and it wasn't us. We weren't the cause of it.
John called you on that?
Yeah.
He's not there anymore, you know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you won't have to worry.
We attended the public power parade. It was held at the Capitol. We had 85 trucks from local utilities show up, and it was a great representation of municipality, public power. We had a lot of people asking what we were there, and they didn't realize that there was anything outside of Alliant Energy and Madison Gas and Electric, and so, and legislative side, we made an impact because now they know that small communities don't get the funding that Alliant or Madison Gas and Electric, because these grants come out that you need to take $10 million. Well, a community like Juneau, $10 million, we're replacing 2 substations. Well, we're not going to qualify for any grant money if that's the minimum grant money that you can qualify for. So it did make a statement. Hopefully it shows in the future to come. With the public, or the Public Power Week going on, we did Power Town for St. John's and Dodgeland. It's a little demonstration we put on for the kids. It's like a miniature overhead system where we put some high voltage on and show trees going into the power lines, or power line going across the vehicle, kids flying kites, backhoes digging an underground cable. And it is working, because we had some St. John's kids that went to year prior, and when I asked them questions, you know, why can a bird sit on a power line and not get hurt, but a tree touching the power line gets hurt? And they said, well, the electricity is trying to find a path to ground. It's like, these kids are listening, they're learning something.
It was just funny.
So,
The look on Nick's face was great.
yeah, I was like, I don't think I've ever had a kid answer that question. And he's like, well, I remember from last year. So, yeah, so it's paying off. It's always good to see.
Fit him for hooks and belt right away. So that
And then they also do the bike outside in the shop. They pedal a bike and turn light bulbs on and see how hard it is to turn high pressure sodiums on versus LEDs. So it's a good time. And then we will be billing Bailey's Concrete for 1 hour of hydrovacing at 612 East Oak Grove towards the storm insulation of backyards on the south side of East Oak Street. It's a really tight spot to get that storm in the backyard. They wanted to get some verification on where that T was stubbed behind the sidewalk. And it was 1 employee, 1 hour, so it's not much, but we'll be billing our time for that job. That's all I got.
All right. Anybody got any questions for Nick? If not, Alex?
Well, we have it on here to discuss and approve change in service abandonment requirements regarding service lateral materials. I'm assuming you put that forward?
I pushed that forward.
Yeah.
I think we gotta look at what we talked about here a few months ago, because we kind of promoted that. I took it upon myself to allow we got the house torn down, burnt out house tore down on Fairfield Avenue, and there is a potential for that lot being sold and service restored. I do have pictures on my phone, and the guy properly capped the sewer lateral on both sides, took a chunk out, capped it from the house basement, and also capped it out to the street. but I see no reason for us, and then this can be done on a per case basis, but I see no reason to dig up a street and abandon them to the main if there's a potential of reusing that service as long as it's done to today's standards. As long as we got good PVC and copper or PEX or coming off the water main, I see no reason why we should be tearing up a street to do that, only for the guy to tear it up again to tie back on, you know. So I know our service rules say, and Cincinnati's been very good at the houses they tore down, but we always wind up with a rumble strip in our street then, you know, when they have to go back to the main, because we do dictate that when services are abandoned, that they go back to the main. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, unless there's a potential of reusing the existing service that's there, and as long as it's up to today's standards. So I think if we're gonna rewrite this thing, I think it should be at the discretion of this table, you know, because every case might have its own merits. But I mean, here is a clean cut case down there, and it, you know, might be a while, I don't know, but I mean, here the water is sealed off with a shut off at the curb line, and the sewer was abandoned within 5 feet inside the sidewalk rather than all the way to the main. It was Schedule 35 PVC, and you put a glue cap on it and what have you. So I'd like to see that promoted into our utility construction standards, that we don't just throw away good materials and tear apart streets and whatever if we don't have to.
There's nothing really to worry about with contaminants with PVC. It's more so lead though, right? Like say you got a section of water line that's not going to be used, that's stagnant water that's sitting there for a long time.
Well, that's common practice anywhere, you know, Goose Park's got 15 of them that sat there for how long? You know, the first gush of water will come out.
That's usually where the valve is open and is drafting past the trap that you created by having a dead line there. As long as that valve is shut off, that stagnant water isn't going to get into your water supply.
Right. I guess the big one, the only thing I had, and that's just the individual contractor, when he abandoned the copper lines, all he did was sawzall them off and left them. He could have at least crimped them, shot, or taped it a little bit.
Yeah. Or put a compression cap on it or something like that, right?
Shark bite even, something.
Right.
But
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly, but like I said, I think every case probably has its own merits, but I mean, this might be a sticky situation, being a zero lot line duplex, where they're gonna track both parties down, but I got a feeling it's going back to the county. You already got one party that's already 2 years in the rear. It'll be the 3rd year in the rear of the one that actually caused the fire. She's nowhere to be had, and the other side just stopped cooperating.
But they found a fly-by-night tractor to come and try to pull some of that down, or what?
Yeah, all of a sudden he showed up after we had a contract already signed with somebody else, and here a couple kids are tearing off siding pieces at a time, and we're working for the property owner on
I
this
got
side.
4 phone calls. This is the best Juneau could hire. We're taking it. I'm like, that's not them.
That's not them. Yeah, just out of the woodwork all of a sudden. So she's got to be in the area someplace. But it's a sticky situation where you got to try to get somebody to sign over, or let it go back to, maybe letting it go back to the county would be the cleanest situation. Then the county can peddle it, you know, whatever. Because I got a feeling both parties have got the money they want to from their insurance company, and just for a matter of record, we were able to, with the monies received that were held in escrow for the one that caused the fire, was enough to tear down the dwelling. So we're within budget there. So no taxpayer dollars are being wasted on tearing down that house. So just within dollars.
So maybe I'm showing my lack of experience. Where are you referencing the rules of service construction? Like in our
We always had a,
codes?
yes, we
or-
always had a service construction
So-
standard.
Spec specifications and.
Yeah,
Right, so I haven't read all.
and I'm sure some of them have been updated, because we used to always, we wouldn't allow PVC water main or anything like that. I don't know if any of that's been upgraded or not
I
since.
don't know.
So that's, I think we'll have to take.
That might need a whole new rewrite, or get somebody, other communities.
Well, and I've found
Standard.
some too. That's because I was off all last week, so then this came in midweek. I'm like, I I don't know.
Yeah, well, I wanted to get it on there so
Yeah.
that at least we're all on board on what we did down on Fairfield, because I don't wanna see that street tore up. We've spent
No.
enough on, you know, doing what we did down there, so. I mean, it's just common sense is what it boils down to, so.
Don't worry, there'll be another rumble strip pretty close right around the corner from here.
Yeah, I heard we got a water leak down
Yeah,
there.
so, everybody's getting ahead of me on my stuff here.
Sorry about that. Like bringing us bad news or what?
Alright, so for our updates here, we'll start with the wastewater plant. They're fighting shortages on materials everywhere, so Staub hasn't been on site in at least 2 weeks. They came back now, this week they came back to start some more work, but it's slow,
Is it
basically.
reflected in the bill that we just got? It's-
I don't know.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna ask
That'll
you
be the next
to
bill,
look
yeah.
at that real good, because they're,
Yeah.
Does Cody cover in those weeks when they're not here?
No, we don't have any on-site rep. The Mason did start on the chemical building during that time, so actually we did have, the on-site rep was there once in a while just to check on the Masons. But they're looking to have the block work done for the chemical building this, I think they finished today, actually. The main block work. But that's basically the only progress we've had in the last 2 weeks for sure. October 17th and 18th, Nicholas and Liz came in at 4 a.m. and you may have seen them turning valves on North Main Street. That was just a matter of safety because those valves haven't been turned in 6 years. So just for traffic's sake, we had them come in early and take care of that because that's supposed to be done every 5 years, I think. So we were behind on that for sure anyhow.
what street was that on?
North Main Street.
Are you setting up a schedule to have that done?
We have, those were the only ones that got put off, basically. Like we talked about the chlorine thing already, I said that we're working with MSA a little bit and trying to figure out what to do. Nick mentioned that he replaced the transformer and the service coming into well 3 this month. We did receive a generator on October 20th. It is in the process of being installed. It's been going slow. I think well 3's been down for 3 weeks now. We anticipate at least the well to be running again by the end of this week. And then the generator to be running by the end of the month. It was kind of one of those deals where the winning contractor got bought out. So this was his project, but the purchasing company is busier than all get out, so they want to send all the guys to all their jobs. So the original bidder is just doing it by himself, basically. So that's why it's taken so long. He's just trying to wrap up all the last jobs that he got. So he'll have it done soon. And he's been good to work with. I feel like he's not fast.
He's an older guy.
He's an old guy. I mean, and he's
But he's
not
got a
there.
lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
he does good work.
Yeah, he seems knowledgeable and seems like he's doing a good thorough job. He's got his nephew helping him, and it takes time. So, we cleaned our wet wells at the wastewater plant this month, is another item. We did receive our insurance claim back in July from when we got hit by lightning and we needed a new air conditioner. So we got that for $11,000
Yes.
less the
Less
$5,000.
than 5,000, that
So
was
we got,
$6,800 or
okay.
so.
So we got some money back from that. And then our new exciting thing is that we have a water main break on South Street under our brand spanking new asphalt. So, we got a call Dave Beal Sunday morning. Customer had water ponding in the front yard. Peggy came out as she was on call, tried to open up the curb stop, and water shot 2 feet out of the ground through her curb stop. So she got the wrench on it and closed the ladder, or closed the service, and the water still kept coming. So it's not the service, at least beyond the valve. Called an emergency locate, which actually I dated a little sooner than I needed. But
I got a feeling it's right by that curb stop.
so
Hopefully you can just do the boulevard first.
right, so that's what we already have planned. Is that Town and Country was supposed to be here this morning, but they will be here tomorrow morning. We're gonna start with the mini and dig in the boulevard and just verify that it's not a service leak in the boulevard before I chop open a brand new street, because it's really easy to fix grass. So we're gonna verify that first. If it isn't a street, then we'll cut the street open. We did have a correlating service come out to locate it. It correlated in the street with that locating equipment. So it was like 6 feet up the main from the lateral. So if we're not 100% sure. He said just by the way it sounds listening to it and the way it's bubbling up through that service, he thinks there's a good chance it still maybe is the service. But so we're gonna dig the terrace first and just verify. And then if we have to chop open the street, then so be it.
I don't know why operating the shut-off would have anything to do with the
If
water
it's behind the
coming.
valve, is all of that.
That's what you're
Yeah. Yeah, so thankfully.
It was following that curb stop big time.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's right on the
Right,
backside.
it's, I mean,
doing. Well, the gravel is always gonna be the easiest to
Right,
follow.
but the way it's shot out of there,
I
it
mean,
just
it's-
seems like there's a lot of pressure. Who knows?
it's hard to, I mean, it's hard to see, but it's shooting out of that curb stop 6 inches. So I mean, there's pressure there
Right.
at the curb stop, so. But then the next confusing part is the house across the street in Kitty Corner had water piling in their basement. So it's following
Following
as the
gravel.
next,
Trenches.
the next closest
That
place.
sounds like an
trench.
awful lot of water for just a service leak if it's
Yeah.
going all
And
the way
that's,
across
and
the
that's
street.
what Town and Country said too,
Yeah.
that's a lot of water for just the service leak.
Yeah, 1 inch take
And the
off.
fact that today we pumped, typically we've been pumping around 130,000 a day. Today we pumped 450,000 gallons. So it's a big
You got a
one.
big leak under there.
Yeah.
Did you guys throttle it?
And that's with me throttling it to the point where the guy on the far end of the street barely has water coming in his house. So that's as much as I can do, especially being down a well. I can't
Yeah.
do more than that. So they were supposed to dig it this morning, but they had guys calling in sick and last minute Sunday schedule. We get what we get.
Yeah.
So they'll be at it first thing tomorrow.
Okay,
That's all I got.
all right. Anybody got any questions for Alex? If not, I don't have anything. I've been to the last 2 construction meetings and been kind of interesting, so.
We did have the old business to talk about fluoride.
We didn't get to that
We're
yet.
not there yet.
And otherwise, that's all I have. Mr. Mayor?
You still got old business yet, right?
Right.
Yep.
You wanna talk about?
I don't.
Well, no, because it's president, mayor, and then
Yeah.
old
You
business.
gotta- you gotta cover your-
Going in
Sorry,
order.
I didn't look at my agenda.
You're up.
No, not really anything other than that we got the holiday season coming up. You're deer hunting, be careful out there. We need you all to come back to work, so. Other than that, that's all I've got to say. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
All right, old business.
Frankly, I need to kind of table the fluoride thing for now. I emailed a number of dentists trying to get opinions. Been doing a lot of
Well, they
research.
sure are coming through on my phone.
Yeah, we've gotten 4 or 5 responses,
Okay.
the council
Right.
and the mayor. We
Yeah.
got 4 or 5 responses from Dentis.
They want it, right?
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know Columbus is doing the same thing, and Columbus voted it down to not get rid of it.
So they're not doing it.
They're not.
They're keeping it.
They're keeping it.
I also talked to my chemist at work, I have a chemist there, and about mixing the chemicals. And his opinion was that it doesn't create a dangerous gas.
I don't know about that.
He said it's not a good idea to mix, 2 different chemicals, but he said that these two are not reactive in that way.
Take a cup.
We've had
We've done
I can
it.
show
We've
you.
done studies. I'm just telling you what he told me. And I gave him the MSD
Yeah.
passes that you
Right.
furnished.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, Alex, do we get credit for the takeoff of the gas that went beyond the treatment plant?
No.
I just didn't think so. I figured that would be the game that
I
they
know.
play.
They extended the main. And no less did they leave a big hook and shackle from their crane equipment right in our lawn that our mower happened to run
Oh.
over last week.
Well, I'd hold them responsible for that.
Nothing broke, but it bent the crap off.
Is that the one that you guys put on the transformer there, or the junction there?
I don't know. It's in our shop now.
Because there's one property, Juneau Utility's electric department on our truck.
You would think, when you initiate a gas extension like that, and then they elect to go even farther with it, that they'd give you the same
Something,
credit that they
yeah.
are on the lead side. Well, now, we got that much less gas to work with.
Exactly. You're dying into our capacity.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe a call to public service would probably be a good thing to do that. A line you could use a jacking up every
If you
now
run it
and
to
then.
my house, think about all the customers you guys could get coming on.
Well, that's what I mean. We went to a smaller size gas line because it was affordable, and now they elect to even extend beyond off of that,
So if we ever get to that point where it's,
I would have
I
thought
would
they,
hope that our capacity is reserved.
Right.
It is.
I would have thought they would have put the bigger one in and charged us for the smaller.
That's what
So
I
that
wrote.
they had growth for the future to loop around by Nails Farms or whatever.
Yeah.
Because when that episode happened at the north end of town, that's all I heard with all the aligned engineers is, yeah, we gotta figure out a way to get Juneau fed from more than one way, whatever. So,
Oh, well. So,
Furnace into the gas line.
all right. Do we have any new business?
Move to adjourn.
second.
We have a motion to adjourn in a second.
Who seconded?
Art,
Okay, thank you.
all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. 7:48.